Greetings, fellow Demon Slayers. This is Timon and Mari here today with another League of Maidens video. So, for today, I just simply want to give you guys my controller setup that I am using, because the game unfortunately does not have controller support, but that's fine, we can get around that with relative ease. So the tutorial is just going to be me showing you my config, showing you how I set it up, and then from there, if you want controller support, all you have to do is reference the video and copy me. Now, this setup focuses solely on gameplay so that you can maneuver the game with just your controller and do everything you need to do on controller. The only time you'll ever need to use your keyboard is for the F keys, so F1 through 5, and that will be to just give yourself your interim skills because those keys are used to level those skills. So those keys are not mapped on the controller simply because there isn't room, but everything else essential to like immediate gameplay will be mapped. So with that being said, let's get into it. The first thing you want to do is come to your Steam account, go to your library, go to League of Maidens, and then you're going to click on this gear here. Then you're going to go to Manage and go to Controller Configuration. Now that we're in here, so what Steam is going to do is it's going to have this weird auto config that's actually going to conflict with what we're trying to do. So for the purpose of following my setup, you want to come in here, you want to first make sure there's nothing mapped to your face buttons. So those would be X, Y, A, and B. Clear this out. You want to make sure nothing is mapped to your right stick. And you want to make sure nothing is mapped to your D-pad. You also want to make sure nothing is mapped to this back button here. Now, all these other things are going to be set up by default using the Steam configuration. You don't have to do anything to your left stick because W, A, D, and S is how you move, and the Shift key will be how you run. So you can leave this as is. Same thing for the Start button, or the Menu button. You don't need to do anything to this because we will be using the Escape key to open and close our menu in game. So this can stay as is. Looking at the right bumper and the left bumper, same difference. This button allows you to zoom in and out on your character. I like having that function, so I kept them as they are because you just simply click left bumper, right bumper, you can zoom in and out, get a better view, move the camera, what have you. Same thing for the left trigger and the right trigger. Right mouse is on the left trigger, so holding it down will simply allow you to aim your gun reticle. And then the left mouse button on the right trigger would allow you to just do your basic attacks, whether you're melee or ranged, and then holding down the left trigger to aim will allow you to use your gun using the right trigger. So basically, TLDR, simply have your Steam controller set up looking like this. It should be like this by default if you didn't try to do anything in game already to set up controller. So again, simply just delete the face buttons, delete the right stick, delete the D-pad, and delete this back button from the Steam config. Once that's done, we're going to come over to the program we're using to set things up. Now I am using Joy2Key. If you do not have Joy2Key, it's fine. I left a link in the description to download it. It's a CNET link, so it's a safe site. It's where I got my version of it. And this will serve you for pretty much any controller configuration needs. I've been using it for years. It does wonders for setting up games, and it's a lot less confusing than XPadder, and I feel like it's a little easier to work with. So, you're not going to need anything set for sticks 1, because stick 1 is set up already on your Steam config, as we can see here. So moving on from stick 1, stick 2 is going to be your right stick. So we're just going to come in here. So as you can see here, stick 2 with the little left symbol is set up to go left on the mouse. So what this does is, I'm actually using the controller right now. If I press left, my mouse pointer moves left. If I press up, it moves up. If I press down, it moves down. If I press right, it moves right. Now, I keep the sensitivity and the analog acceleration at default. If you prefer it more sensitive, you can simply use this little bar to move it up, but I find 50 is good enough for me. That's something you'd have to fine tune for yourself. So, now that that's been explained, for your right stick, you're just simply going to want to set the exact same mouse direction as the direction on the stick, so that you can move the mouse pointer in that direction. Simple. Next, we're going to come down and look at your POV, and that will be, again, up, right, down, and left. This is your D-pad. So, what you're going to want to set on your D-pad. For the up key, we actually have the X hotkey and the control button set. So, how it works is if you come into here, you're going to go to the keyboard multi option to tie both hotkeys to the same button. And what you're going to want to click is switch depending on how long the button is pressed. So, according to what this hotkey will do, the X button is to loot. So now when I tap up on my D-pad, I will actually pick up loot. If I want to free my mouse in game so that it's not the camera for my character, I would simply hold up on the D-pad instead of tapping it to get the control key. And that will unbind your mouse. And then when you want to rebind the mouse, you simply hold up again, and then you'll go back to using your right stick to camera around as opposed to your mouse pointer. You don't have to change the milliseconds the hold button has to be hit. 500 will suffice. There will be no crosstalk. Like I said, if you tap up, you're going to get X. If you hold up, you're going to get the control key. So let's get out of here. The next hotkey we're going to look at is right on the D-pad. So this is going to be how you cycle through your guns. So I believe it's like assault rifle is 1, shotgun is 2, I think sniper is 3, and rocket launcher is 4. I don't remember, but essentially, if you tap the right button on your D-pad in sequence, it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to show you how to set that up. You come in here. You're going to go to your keyboard multi option again. And you're going to go to switch rotation, input 1, input 2, input 3, input 4, and then you see it loops back, input 1, input 2. So if you were to say hit the button twice, you will be at input 3 the next time you hit the button. So remember that. It holds wherever it's at in the sequence. So this is great for swapping guns. This is great for when you have to talk to NPCs in the game because you use the numbers for different interactions going from 1 to 4. So just make sure you're on that button in the sequence and then interact with the NPC. Now, what we're going to do is for input 1, we're obviously going to set the number 1. For input 2, we're going to set the number 2. For input 3, we're going to set the number 3. And for input 4, we're going to set the number 4. We're going to check off input 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you just simply click OK. And now this button will have all 4 of those keys tied to it in the sequence I explained. So let's get out of here. We're going to come to the down key. So this is going to work the same way as the up key. We're going to set a short press and a long press. So the tab key opens your cell phone in game. It doesn't seem super important, honestly, but I hotkeyed it because it was there to hotkey. So if you tap tab, it'll open up your cell phone. And then we have the back quote hotkey here for your asset choice, which is for a game mode within the game. So I just hotkeyed it so I don't have to worry about it later. So, same thing. You're going to click switch depending on how long the button is pressed. Don't have to change the milliseconds it needs to be pressed. If you tap it, you get your cell phone in game. If you hold it, you get the back quote hotkey for your assets. And that hotkey will only be available in the respective game mode. So this hotkey will not work outside of the mode that uses assets. I don't remember what it's called. Sorry, I'm a noob. So I don't remember the name of the mode. Next, we're going to look at the DPad Left. So for DPad Left, we have V set for endpoint 1. We have B set for endpoint 2. V will be your mount. So if you tap it, your character will get on her mount. And B will be to go back to town. Like if you're out questing in Freedom City or the desert or you're in the overworld, if you simply hold the key, or I'm sorry, if you simply hold the left D-pad, it will activate the B key and your character will port back home. And again, we're clicking switch depending on how long the button is pressed. So as long as you tap the button, you'll get your mount. As long as you hold the button, you will teleport back to town. So let's get out of here. Now we're at the face buttons. So button 1 is going to be the A button on your controller if you're using an Xbox controller. So what we have hotkey to button 1 will be your Q skill, which is pretty much the first skill in your sequence. And then it will be the T hotkey, which is for your gauntlet in game, when you finally get one to drop. So, if you tap the button, you'll get your Q ability. If you hold the button, you will get your gauntlet. Again, be sure to check off switch depending on how long the button is pressed, and this hotkey will be set. So clicking OK. Next we're going to come to button 2, which is your B button on the Xbox controller. So for this button, we set the E ability to input 1. So if you tap the button, you will do your E hotkey. And then we set C to the hold input. So if you hold down your B button, your character will reload her gun. Again, set switch depending on how long the button is pressed, and you're good to go. So we'll just click cancel, get out of here. Next we're going to come to the X button on the Xbox controller. That would be button 3. This doesn't have double things. This doesn't have a keyboard multi because you just simply have it for your R ability. So when you want to use R, just tap X and you're good to go. Next we have button 4, which is your Y button on the Xbox controller. So clicking on this, I made this the jump as well as your flight button since, I don't know, it just felt good to put them together. So tapping Y will let you jump. If you hold down Y, it will put you in flight mode, and then you can use your joystick to fly around. To speed up, you just simply press the joystick in, since the shift key also allows you to fly fast as well. Make sure you click switch depending on how long the button is pressed, and you're good to go. You can also double jump, so like do Y, and then in the middle of the double jump, if you start holding Y, your character will go into flight mode in midair off of the jump. So I find that these two hotkeys being on the same button work pretty good together. So, next hotkey. We have nothing set for the left bumper, and we have nothing set for the right bumper, which would be buttons 5 and 6, because those are already preset in Steam to be your scroll down and your scroll up. And again, that just simply allows you to zoom in and out of your Maiden. So we'll move on to button 7. Now, button 7 is the back key I had you guys clear up on the Steam config, so this guy. Coming back to the program, what we're setting to button 7 will be the I hotkey and the Y hotkey. So, same thing as everything else, keyboard multi. You come in here, you set I to input 1 and Y to input 2. You set to switch depending on how long the button is pressed. Now, what I does is it opens your inventory, so just simply tapping the back key will open up your inventory. Y opens your loadout so you can level your skills and passives or whatever you're looking to do. So if you hold down the back button, it will open the loadout for you so you can get things done in there. So, super simple, easy peasy. There's nothing set to button 9, or I'm sorry, there's nothing set to button 8 and button 9, so you can move on from that. Now, button 10. What button 10 is it is your right stick when you press it in. So what we're setting to the right stick will be the mouse middle click button. So holding down your right stick will allow you to guard in game. Now to configure that, you come into your settings, you go to mouse, and you just simply click wheel middle and click OK, and that will turn it into your middle button being pressed on your mouse. Then we have button 11. Now this is just more for personal use, so I can use the controller as a mouse, because I really don't like using mouses anyway, since I come from console gaming. So I just simply mirrored what was set up already on Steam. The right click will be on the left trigger, same as on the Steam loadout, and the left click will be on the right trigger, same as on the Steam loadout. If you do not want to use the controller as a mouse outside of the game while having this profile open, kind of like I'm doing right now, you do not need to set these two hotkeys as they're already preset for you in Steam. And yeah, that'll pretty much do it. Once you get this set up, you'll be able to play the game with a controller. Like, it takes a few minutes, but I'm sure watching the video, hopefully I was concise enough. If not, please ask in the chat or in the YouTube comments, and I'm pretty active there. I'll be sure to answer any questions people may have. So with all that being said, if you found the video helpful or informative, please like and subscribe, as it helps me on my path to becoming a full-time YouTuber. And go ahead, get in the game, and enjoy playing League of Maidens on controller. It's really fun, and it's really smooth, and God, I feel like the game was meant for controller. It's so much better than playing it on mouse and keyboard. Anyways, enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Have fun in the game. Good luck farming bosses. And I will catch you guys tomorrow with another video. Take care.